Good afternoon, everybody. I do apologise if my voice is a bit funny. I was clowning around last night, so crazy. Anyway, thanks for inviting me to talk today, and I'll be very quick. We are, or I consider ourselves to be a small FOGO processing council. We do all of our own processing in-house, so with just our own council staff. And we've used the city to soil model, and we've been operational since 2012, end of 2011. What I thought I'd do is just, rather than have lots of words up there, thought I'd show you some pictures. Basically, I don't know how much you have been involved in food and garden organics processing, but really you need a facility that you can receive it on. We call it a batching pad. We have fairly simple equipment to be able to meet our work health safety requirements in terms of managing the material as it comes in and starting to get it ready for batching up, and I'll talk about the process as I go through. Contamination, I think that's probably the most important thing to talk about because it's what you spend your money on, and it really does link to how you're going to think about your collections and your frequency of collections and your engagement with the community, and also that links in, and I'll talk a little bit about the marketing of your compost. I'll get to that in a minute, but we pride ourselves on our contamination rates being well below 0.5%, and that's a whole days of contamination from 3 big standard size 30-metre cleanaway trucks that have come in and dropped off. And I must make mention that Cleanaway have supported us tremendously through the process and helped us deal with our contamination and engaging with the community as well. So you've got to get that out, rubbish in, rubbish out when it comes to compost, I'm afraid. Right, so you've picked out all your material, you've batched out all your contamination, you've got the moisture content set for the process that you're using. We're using a static fermentation process, no electricity, no forced aeration. The downside is it's very slow, about 25 weeks before our product goes out. So obviously it's just not going to suit all size or types of situations, but in regional areas where you've got a bit of space, it works pretty well. We do cover with impermeable tarps. We do that, as I say, to vector attraction, but retain moisture. Process that we use, we only add water once. We only have to add it at the beginning, batch up, set and forget. Basically just measuring temperature and a few bits and pieces here and there, but that helps us. The piles get hot, the water condenses underneath the tarps, and then the water gets reused. So it's very basic. That's it. Yeah, then we do as I say, it's about the first sort of the putrescible phase, getting rid of all the easily accessible foods, the sugars, the carbohydrates and the oils will get gobbled up pretty quickly. And then we don't shred up front. So basically what we do is we stabilise all of the material as it is received. We then screen it. We get our A-grade compost out of that, so there's no shredding at that point. Then once we've got our A's out, our fines out, we shred our oversize, and that's our B-grade. And I'll talk about product differentiation in a minute as well. It's important to have that discussion with the community about quality control. Talk about screening, fairly simple stuff. We set this site up for about $200,000 and we don't own all the gear. The only thing we owned, which we already had, was the loader. We had to buy that little mini excavator, and we do get a little shaker screen we hire in when we need to. One of the reasons being is that we can't really justify having a shredder on site all the time, so it's just much easier to have everything come out. It's no odour in it after it's stabilised. We can pile it up in big piles and then we can shred it in one hit. And we normally shred our material when we get our green waste shredded as well. So, so that process is important. We use a 19mm screen. We find that the residents prefer a slightly coarser compost. So I think it's horses for courses, and I can answer any questions about process in a minute. You want a product that you want to jump in? I'd say to people when they come on the site, if you're not willing to roll around in your compost, or you don't want to roll around and you haven't done a good job in it, it should be really rich, it should smell lovely, and really it should walk out the gate. Simple as that. We can't meet the demand for the product, which I think's good news. It's 35 a cubic metre, but most trailers can't hold a cube, but we still charge the 35, so if you work that out at per tonne rate, it's probably just under $100 a tonne. We sell our B grade. Because the B grade's been shredded, the humus has come out in the A grade. You're left with a much more coarser, woodier type material. You've smashed the plastics if they're there. Hopefully we've got most of them out. And so you know what it's like. You agitate material, chaos, and you get all the little bits, the big bits turn into lots of little bits. So the B grade is just a B grade product. We're up front and we do charge 25 for it. So not a huge difference between the A and the B. Previously, we were going to do deliveries of compost, got the truck set up. We were already using that truck to deliver mulch and recovered aggregates and other things, but we thought we were going to deliver compost, but it all goes by the trailer from site sales. So just to share it more amongst the community, and I'll talk about why I think it's important that the community has access to the compost, the whole cell thing. So key areas to consider. Frequency of your residential, commercial, FOGO collections. Obviously residential, there's all this debate whether the organic should be weekly or fortnightly, where the red bin should be. I've got my opinions on that. I can go into that if anyone's interested. And also commercial, fortnightly. We're a fortnightly organics collection, by the way, but that's not going to suit commercial. So for our commercial customers, we do twice or thrice weekly collections. And that's starting to get some momentum. Community engagement, the motivators. How are you going to, get people involved and want to contribute to the, and not put all the wrong things into the organics bin? You've got all that stuff worked out. Then you're looking at, scaling your technology. There's lots. I'm process agnostic. I think that around all the stalls today, there's some fantastic composting systems out there. But at the end of the day, you've still got to manage contamination and all that sort of stuff. So I think you'll choose your technology based on your site constraints. Regulatory constraints, both in terms of your approvals for your site and in terms of your compliance with your orders, not exemptions, your compost exemptions, orders, and making sure that you're confident that your product's pasteurised and is going to meet the physical contamination thresholds. And you may even want to test AS4454 just to get a feel for whether or not you're getting any metals or organochlorides or anything coming through, just to double check. Compost markets, I think that's really important. One of the big things we get is that, for example, a resident that might not necessarily have a garden, but whose neighbour is an avid gardener, uses the city to soil compost, might share some veggies that they had. They all talk, everyone talks, sell, and then they say things like, well, I probably wouldn't have bothered, but my neighbour raves about it, so I'm happy to put my organics into the food caddy. And I think by selling and having that close connection with your community, with your product, that helps with the engagement process. And that's what we've been doing, and